The narrative surrounding Vince McMahon for the past 2 decades has remained the same. Many fans are convinced that the owner of WWE, the biggest wrestling corporation in the world, has lost touch with the fans, his employees, and the art of professional wrestling in general. McMahon is the most successful wrestling promoter in the history of the business, bar none. He has given wrestling fans countless memories to cherish and remember forever, and if not for him, wrestling would probably still be a circus, not a sport watched around the world. However, as much as McMahon has done for the wrestling business, modern WWE has garnered much disdain and general apathy from the fans. Those who watch the product vehemently dislike it, and those who were turned off due to nonsensical storylines and uninspired booking will likely never return to watching WWE. The incompetence is perfectly illustrated by the fact that aside from John Cena, the company has not produced a megastar since the rise of the aforementioned world champion. The closest thing to a legit superstar in the current program is Roman Reigns, and even he was a victim of horrid booking for the majority of his career. A slew of sabotaged careers and incredulous booking patterns do indeed prove that Vince McMahon has lost his touch. Moreover, the creative writers pumping out scripts every week share the bulk of the blame as well. With constant rematches, uninspired storytelling, and a shortage of true superstars, WWE is not in the best of shape. However, despite all the blunders the company commits, there are a few gems in between the horrendous displays of pro wrestling gone wrong. The current story of Roman Reigns ruling the show as the tribal chief is one example that is often pointed out, but a recent feud between a returning veteran and a highly decorated superstar may be in the same ballpark as Reigns and the Bloodline. The feud between Edge and Seth Rollins started off in typical fashion, with the heel, Seth Rollins, interfering in a match between Edge and Roman Reigns. This method of storytelling is fairly typical for a filler feud, and many assumed that while the quality of the match would be good, the storyline would not offer much in terms of entertainment. However, fans were pleasantly surprised when the characters of the two athletes were given due attention. Edge won the first match at SummerSlam and Rollins evened it out on SmackDown a few weeks later. The two matches were fantastic in quality, but behind the physical contest, there was a story. The story of a sociopathic and somewhat mentally disturbed individual looking to end the career of a veteran who was wrestling on borrowed time. In a rare bit of WWE utilizing continuity effectively, this also tied into a segment from 2014 where Rollins used Edge as a hostage to force John Cena into reinstating the Authority. Unlike the usual formula, the rematches were spread apart and the continuity was maintained. Instead of Rollins and Edge wrestling each other every other week, the ongoing feud was built up through promos, vignettes, and video packages. When the time came to actually lock horns in the ring, the in-ring aspect was fresh and both athletes were sufficiently developed as characters. After two classics, the third act took place in Hell in a Cell, at Crown Jewel 2021. Hell in a Cell has admittedly lost a lot of luster and prestige in the past years, but Edge and Rollins worked possibly the best Hell in a Cell match of the modern era. The premise of the storyline remained the same, but with the addition of a cruel structure, the match was kicked into another gear. The match featured multiple table bumps and a range of weaponry, including steel steps and chairs. At one point during the match, Rollins kicked off the part of the chair and tried to blind Edge with it, as he intended to make good on his promise of ending the fairy tale that was the career resurgence of Edge. Meanwhile, the veteran competitor hung in there with the younger superstar, relying on his experience and guts to outsmart and scrap by the most dangerous spots. In a cruel twist of irony, Edge defeated Rollins using his signature move, the Stomp. Earlier, Rollins had wrapped his foot in chains and was looking to finish off Edge once and for all, but after a chair shot to the groin, Rollins got a taste of his own medicine as his head was hammered into the floor, with Edge covering him for the 3 count. Some would say that Rollins deserved the win, but with a rivalry like this, one so entertaining and engaging, the loser is by no means devalued. If anything, Rollins was elevated and his character work throughout the feud garnered much praise. This feud was booked to near perfection. The simple plot of Rollins accusing Edge of jumping the line evolved with time, and the idea went beyond the confines of simple competition. With Edge bringing back his brood character out of sheer hatred for Rollins, and Rollins invading the house of his rival because he loathed Edge. This rivalry between the two is one of the few angles that WWE has done justice to in recent time. Character work and adherence to a sensible plot goes a long way in pro wrestling. This is the proof. That is, my friend, the video. If you love our videos, then you can consider to subscribe us.